Welcome to Activate Yourself with Sidhu-Robb, where we feature otherwise normal people who, because of events in their life, have turned left and done unusual, inspiring, incredible things, like build a business, become a happiness expert, marry a prince, create an empire, or, like your host, set up a health and wellness business, Nosh Detox. Here's your host, Sidhu-Robb.
Hi, my name is Sidhu-Robb, and this is Activate Yourself. And today we have a slightly unusual guest, because when I said, what is the defining moment in your life? She said the immortal phrase, which no one has ever said to me before. I went from boxing to tech. Don't you just want to know more? Like, isn't that just a phrase that makes you think, what? It's like that screeching sound you put when everything comes to a halt and goes, sorry, just run that past me again. We have the wonderful Lesley Sackey joining us today, who was introduced to me. No, you know how when there's someone you should meet and one person tells you about them, then another person tells you about them, then another person tells you about them, and you're like, okay, already, I'm coming. Lesley's one of those people. Thank you for joining me today, Lesley.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, I'm like, usually what we do in Activate Yourself is to have conversations with people about what activates them. And I do this because when terrible things happen to us, we often see them as defining moments. And I don't think they're defining moments because we're victims. I think they're defining moments because I always say they kind of hit you and you go left. And when you go left, everything changes. And it somehow just needed that course correction, which isn't always fun, but to get you there, right?
Yeah.
So what would that be for you?
I think, I think the obvious go left would be from boxing to tech, but there is a go left moment that I think led up to that particular journey. So I can share that, and then it will all make sense.
But boxing is unusual anyway, right? For women. It's not like there's a million like boxers around the world. My chair.
No, unfortunately, although it is growing and women are doing great jobs to like pave the way in terms of putting it on the map. So I was a former Team GB boxer and gold medalist. I got into sports very late, so I hated sports at school. I always had a no. I always tried to get out of it. And so I got into boxing in my 20s, and it snowballed relatively quickly. Over 6 years, I became British champion, was boxing for England, and then became European gold medalist, and was then selected to box with Team GB. Made it to the first female.
Why did that only take you 6 years?
Why did it take me 6 years?
Why did it only take you 6 years? Was it just that you somehow found your groove, or what? Because that's a huge leap.
I think it was a combination of things. I definitely think there is something that exists within you that once it's kind of unlocked, then that becomes something in itself. And then I think there was something around just me having a natural talent, and once it was nurtured, there was no stopping me. And boxing helped me unlock a lot of things that I believe already existed within me, but I was able to, I guess, realize them, which is I've always been ambitious. I've always wanted to do well. I like to be able to have moments of real strong focus and discipline, followed by the reward of that. Boxing is the perfect journey for that. We train hard.
The pain.
I mean, it's temporary, and also it's pain is in. I think in terms of pain, are you talking about in the ring and actually?
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of adrenaline. You don't really feel it in the moment.
It's like childbirth.
Yeah. And also, like childbirth, as painful as it is, there's so much reward from that process, right? Boxing isn't just getting punched in the face. It's the journey that leads to the ring that is really what builds character, what builds resilience, what gives you the kind of awareness, the self-awareness that only you know when you're faced your kind of darkest depths of wanting to give up. And these are all the things that boxing had taught me. And so the go left moment was after leaving an abusive relationship of, 7 years of trying to navigate that. I felt like I wanted to connect with that strong, empowered person that I felt I was. And so I thought, you know what, after 10 years, a hip replacement, 3 babies later, I'm going to step in the ring and do what makes me feel strong and powerful again. And so began that journey. And of course, again, it still seemed no different. I was just doing a version of what I've always done, which is step into the ring, train for a fight, step into the ring, and hopefully do well. But in that moment, I realized through that process, it felt different. And really, this whole journey was about a reclamation of my body, my voice, but most importantly, being able to step in the ring and show others what's possible, other women in my situation who perhaps didn't.
Did you not feel like you just had so much pent-up aggression to get rid of?
No, I don't. Boxing for me isn't like it's a release of energy. Lots of people for boxing is like, yeah, it's somewhere for my anger to land. But the real myth about boxing is that if you're angry in the ring, you lose. Like you can't focus, you're not aware. And so you have to have it's controlled, channeled energy or aggression. And so if I'm angry, then I have no control, which is the very reason why I'm in there in the first place, to like trying to heal what I had experienced, right? And so it became very much about an ownership of that journey and a reclamation of my own power. And so
it was about being powerful, I was going to say, as well. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, even if you never fight or step into the ring, I see it all the time. People put boxing gloves on and instantly their whole, body language changes.
Yeah.
They're like, instant confidence. And there is something about knowing how to take care of yourself in that way that makes you walk a little bit taller. So, so that was my journey to the ring. And I think the go left moment started from that seed, because in that process, I decided to set up a social impact organization called Fight Forward, where I used the boxing. I knew the value of boxing and how it can release trauma, how it can help connection with other women. And so I decided to set up Fight Forward, which was a not-for-profit using boxing as a tool to support survivors on their mental health journey from domestic abuse.
Perfect. This is a good time to go for a break. We're going to go for a break and we'll come right back.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
If optimizing your health and well-being is on your to-do list, then let Revive Active, Ireland's #1 super supplement brand, help you achieve that in the most convenient and comprehensive way possible. Clean, premium ingredients scientifically formulated to work in synergy to support immunity, energy, joints, heart health, sleep, emotional balance, and more. Benefit from the power, purity, and positivity of our award-winning powder sachets or our therapeutic capsule range. Use code Radio15 at reviveactive.com and save 15% off today. Super supplements for a super you.
When you vacation with Norwegian Cruise Line, every day is a new day. Get a taste for Barcelona, then savor incredible dining options back on board one day. Connect to ancient history in Athens and then disconnect completely in our spa another day. Wherever the sea breeze takes you, come aboard and experience a different tomorrow with NCL. Visit ncl.com, call your travel agent, or call 0333-336-1472. Norwegian Cruise Line, Ships Registry, the Bahamas and USA.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
So talk to me about Fight Forward. I do like that there's the fight in there and then there's the forward as well, because it's not kind of, there's no victim sound in that at all.
I think that was a big turning point for me, which was I felt like I had been kept in this mode of surviving, right? And I feel like that wasn't my true nature. I'm a fighter, I'm confident, I'm capable. But I hadn't felt that way for quite a long time. And I think it's a combination of systems, fragmented systems in place that hold you there, stereotypes as well. Even myself, I was guilty of having a very particular stereotype of what I thought women who'd experienced abuse looked like. And so I didn't match that. I'm confident. I'm a boxer. And also it was reflected back at me. Oh, you're a boxer. Why don't you just hit him? Or, honestly. And so
That's
I
just
learned.
shocking, isn't it, though, that we perpetuate. Sorry, let me just to interrupt there. That when someone says something like that to you, it's almost like you're to blame. Like, why
Yeah.
didn't you stop?
You're confident and strong. Why didn't you do something about
Yeah,
it?
exactly. Well,
Yeah.
screw you and the horse you rode in on, frankly, for that one, because that is such bullshit. How can you say that? Because you're kind of like, oh, I couldn't believe it could happen to someone like you. Would you like me to apologize or just bare my heart so you can stab me one more time? It's such an appropriate way to deal with someone. So if
But
you're
more
listening,
common than you
don't do
think.
that.
More common than you think. It's
Oh,
like,
it's
again,
so
this image
common.
of this cowering woman in the corner. You see it in, like, even now I see press and advertisements where it's just this kind of grey, meek woman. And that is not most survivors of domestic abuse, to be honest. And I think, that's why I believe in the power of storytelling and showing. It's not just women from low socioeconomic backgrounds. It's not just women who are lacking in confidence or are weak. They're barristers, they're CEOs, they're founders, they're boxers. So yeah, there you go. And I think the more we speak about this, the more it kind of dispels those myths, and then it gives space for women to really share their stories powerfully without shame and without, apology.
Yeah, I think when you can talk about it as being something that when you talk about domestic abuse survivors, and I look and I don't identify with this, but we're talking about the fact that yes, I was in a situation where I was hurt and I got out of there and I identify with that. So there needs to be a space where there's room for you to be powerful and still have had something happen to you.
Absolutely.
That you couldn't control, that you couldn't stop, and that you eventually managed to escape. Like it's the same concept as walking down the street and someone attacking you and going, was your skirt really short? No, it wasn't. It's really not what this is about. It's about violence, not about anything else. And it's violence against the woman, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And that exists in many different shapes, forms, and sizes. Again, it's not just physical. It's the words, it's the coercion, it's the gaslighting. There's so many different ways in which it exists. And so just kind of creating space around that so that people feel seen, which is why, having spoken to so many women that I was working with, hearing this constantly over and over again, the unmet needs, the fragmented resources, the, keeping in this state of survival, I was like, something has to be done and to be solved for this, which is why that then led me to my journey as a tech startup to build a platform to alleviate a lot of these pains for women and to give space to say that, you know what, I need help and I don't have to feel ashamed about that. And I can connect with other women and resources that are designed to make me thrive and not keep me in this state of surviving. So Pillow was born, and that leads me to my journey of a tech startup.
Why did you call it Pillow?
For many reasons. I have to give credit to my partner, actually, because she was riffing with me and landed on Pillow, literally. And it's many things. It's about creating a lifetime of support. It's about, a soft landing for hard conversations.
It's like giving a pillow,
Nurturing. I think a lot of spaces that I've, especially in my own journey, had been very cold and the opposite of what I needed. And so Pillow is always about nurture and support, but with firmness, right? And guidance.
Yeah, and it does something for you. It's not like it's just there's a kind of reciprocity almost around.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, no, I like that. So I like the soft landing part because I remember walking out on my marriage, and the thing that shocked me the most was how, one, it was somehow all my fault, but two, the fact was that nobody believed it was happening to me because the house was very big and the money was a lot and all of those things, And the third thing was everybody had a thought on what I should do. And when I didn't do any of the things they wanted me to do, I was dismissed because no one had any use for me. And I think those things are really important because if we don't talk about them, then the women coming after us don't understand that this can happen to them too. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, yeah, just to reflect that back to you, then where did that leave you in that moment? How did you feel when you felt like there was no use for you, or the people or the spaces that you existed in were no longer available to you in that way based on...
And all of your friends, because,
Yeah.
I lived in a very expensive neighborhood and they were just like, this could be catching. Number one. Number two, don't come take our husbands. And I'm like, really? Have you looked at them? It's not, there's, if I wanted them, I'm sure I could have tried that before, but there's a place where you just have to turn inwards. And because there isn't a level of support. So for me, I did my version of it, but tell me about Pillow. What does Pillow do?
Pillow connects, it uses technology to alleviate a lot of the time and energy that it takes to look for resources, whether that could be financial tools, holistic support, mental health support. It's able to create hyper-personalized connections so that you can get exactly what you need at exactly the time you need, right? So if I'm in this crisis mode, we speak of stages when it comes to recovering from abuse, which is you have crisis, then you have stabilization, and then you have rebuilding, and then you have thrive, which we're looking at 4 states. So depending on what stage I'm at, I need different things. Sometimes it's very practical advice. How do I get my ex off my joint bank account? How do I deal with the co-parenting situation? Other times it's like I'm ready to meet other women and I want to connect with them, or I want to take an exercise class. It's so nuanced.
Yeah.
And so what Pillow does is create a unified ecosystem that at first, like minimal touch points, you're able to access what you need depending on how you're feeling at the time and what stage you're at.
So you basically collect Pillow, your business that you are currently founding, is there to collect all the resources that women need. So that's why you're a tech platform. Because explain to me why it's
we're a tech platform because we're also using AI to solve for that seamless journey as well. So we have a combination. It's not all AI. I know this is a very big buzzword at the moment, but we're creating a digital platform so that women are able to access 24/7. There's no wait list. There's no kind of,
Yeah, because you don't need help at 9 a.m. You usually need it at 1 a.m.
Yeah, who knows? There's no based on your location, you can't come here. It's accessible to you all the time. And it's able to use like an AI companion to be able to guide you, an AI coach to able to guide you to your tools and resources, and community as well. We're not forgetting about the human element in this process. And so we're combining that all.
We're going to go for our next break. When we come back, I want to talk about the differences or the similarities between being a boxer and an entrepreneur. Because having been an entrepreneur my whole life and having never been a boxer, I'm fascinated by that thought. We'll be back in a minute.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
If optimizing your health and well-being is on your to-do list, then let Revive Active, Ireland's #1 super supplement brand, help you achieve that in the most convenient and comprehensive way possible. Clean, premium ingredients scientifically formulated to work in synergy to support immunity, energy, joints, heart health, sleep, emotional balance, and more. Benefit from the power, purity, and positivity of our award-winning powder sachets or our therapeutic capsule range. Use code Radio15 at reviveactive.com and save 15% off today. Super supplements for a super you.
When you vacation with Norwegian Cruise Line, every day is a new day. Get a taste for Barcelona, then savor incredible dining options back on board one day. Connect to ancient history in Athens and then disconnect completely in our spa another day. Wherever the sea breeze takes you, come aboard and experience a different tomorrow with NCL. Visit ncl.com, call your travel agent, or call 0333-336-1472. Norwegian Cruise Line. Ships registry, the Bahamas and USA.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
So we're back. What do you find? What are the parallels or the distinctions? What did you learn in boxing that helped you to be an entrepreneur, for example? Because there's a few buzzwords you used that I was like, yes, I see those.
I think, first of all, I've been entrepreneurial. I realized that the more I'm on this journey, I've been entrepreneurial from the age of 7 when I was selling friendship bands in the school playground to, selling free newspapers to residents, to walking dogs, to selling water in the peak of summer in London on the motorways. Like any opportunity to try and hustle and work for myself. I think I've always realized that I've done that. I've also worked in corporates as well and other companies, but I think my spirit is entrepreneurial because I like freedom and I like possibility to create. And what does that look like? So I think that exists within me. And in terms of the boxer journey, I think it's just as tough. I mean, I don't know which is harder, getting punched in the face or like having to pitch.
Oh my God,
But the thing is, I enjoy both, right? I don't mind getting punched in the face, and I quite like pitching, and I
hate
the
both.
underdog. That's what's interesting. That is a similarity that I see, is that in boxing, I've been the underdog, right? Somebody who hasn't been boxing for years or from an early age. So,
You're like an outlier coming in.
Yeah. Female, again, and then again, same here is like being the underdog and proving other people right, I guess, or proving them right, I suppose. So there's great similarity in that. And so I feel quite comfortable in that process. Not everybody can, right? Because you're wanting to defend or say no, but like, I deserve to be here. And this is, and I feel like, okay, quite like a quiet confidence of, even what I'm building, it's tricky, but domestic abuse is a dirty word, and it's not social. I'm building a business with social impact, but this is not a social impact business. It's not a not-for-profit.
I agree. I'm with you on that. The number of times they try and push you into like, people always say, not-for-profit. No, it's a commercial.
Yeah, and it deserves to be. And I'm part of the very person that deserves to thrive and show other women that they can thrive too. And women, and that's another thing, oh, well, these are vulnerable women. How can you take payment? And if you ask, again, that's a huge assumption on women in this space, where if you gave me the opportunity to pay a small amount of money per month, I would happily take it if it meant I didn't have to keep repeating my story to strangers, to have to spend time and energy and resources going elsewhere, and actually to have the choice to purchase and do something that takes ownership of my life. I would happily pay that.
Well, the thing with it is that the people that ask questions of those kinds of questions are people that haven't really gone through it. That's why they're asking questions. Because you ask any woman who's struggling that if she had dependable, solid, credible, helpful, personalized support for the moment she decides to run, because it takes time. It takes time to get there. It takes time to understand when you're doing it. And you don't even know the minute you're going to get up and go. Something clicks and you get up and go. To have it there and waiting, are you shitting me? Take the money.
Yeah.
Take the money. You know what I mean? But if you're pitching, the majority of pitching is done to white men. They're the people that give the majority of money, and they don't understand it. And they're also, the men tend to be the larger perpetrators of domestic abuse. You're dealing with their problems with guilt and whatever shame, and they don't want to deal with. I was listening to a woman yesterday talk about setting up a makeup brand for 40 plus. And when she went to raise money, she said, I thought I had so much credibility, so I would obviously be able to raise money. And what happened is every time I asked people for money, they said, we don't think older women really want to look at other old women. And she was like, are you shitting me? And I'm like, yeah, this is why we need to change the way this works, so that we actually are telling our stories by ourselves, kind of for ourselves, right?
Exactly. And I think that's where the power of storytelling really steps in and comes into that. Even just hearing that story, it's like, we're amazing at rallying together, right? And so if this woman, her brand is out there, I know a million women who would be like, actually, how dare they? And like, we're going to show you. And that's the mentality. But it does get exhausting, right?
Yes.
It does get exhausting.
It's exhausting, but it's also constant. Like when I was looking at what happened, I walked down where I live and the 2 Starbucks closed. where I live, and it's because they got cancelled because of what happened around Palestine, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, they were constantly complaining about the CEO not being good enough. And I'm like, I don't even think it was that, babe. I think you're not understanding that there is a power of social media. One of the things that I have always, like when I used to do press interviews 10 years ago, 15 years ago, newspapers would say, who do you really admire as an entrepreneur? Who do you really admire as women? And I'm like, yeah, because they always wanted you to say something like Margaret Thatcher or my mother. And I would say, honestly, I'd be reborn as Christiana's child. I would. This woman has created 3 billionaires out of thin air, right? And then you look at her and she looked at this and she said, this system will never accept me. It does not. She knew the system. She was married to a man who was in the system. It will never recognize me. I can never build a company. I can never get funding. I can never do any of those things. I'm going to use another system. And they created what we live in. And I'm like, this is the core understanding of women. If I can't do it this way, I'll do it that way. I'm going to get what I want, but I'll do it that way. And that's where other women help each other because it's important. But yes, you have to never think how relentless it is. I've been working in women's empowerment since 2000 and, well, friggin' since I was born, but 2007, 6, 7. And I actually cannot think of how difficult it is. If I ever do that, I want to lie down and think, okay, I'm just going to paint my nails or something. So you have to kind of always think, what did I just manage to achieve? How much further did we get?
Yeah, celebrate the wins. And again, to tie it to boxing and that journey, you have to be resilient. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's risky. It's exhausting. It requires a level of discipline and focus that isn't for everybody. And so that's the founder journey. I mean, I'm in this Antler residency now. We started with 100 people. We're down to like 50. We have 2 weeks left. It's an 8-week residency. It's basically bringing together founders to create and co-found teams and validate an existing idea or come up with a new one. And I was thinking about that process. And then I realized, in fact, I was explaining it to my 10-year-old daughter who was like, where's everybody gone? Have they been eliminated? So I said,
yeah, like a game show.
Literally. And I said, it's a combination of both. Some have been asked to leave because their ideas are not VC backable. And others have decided to leave because they've come from corporate worlds thinking that, you know what, I'm going to try this founder journey, and realizing and experiencing that the two are very different. And so, and understanding, oh, this journey isn't for me, or it's not what I thought it was. And that's why they've left. So I was explaining to her, you know, to be an entrepreneur or founder, like, takes a certain type of personality. It takes a certain level of resilience, tolerance to risk. And you can only do that if you're, used to stepping in the ring and knowing that you're going to get hit in the face, but you're going to get wins as well.
I really like that because I think that women are so, for me, I've always pushed entrepreneurship as a sense of freedom for women because it saved me because I was a lawyer, right? And obviously I couldn't go be lawyering while I'm being homeless and you know, all these terrible things are happening as my marriage is breaking, my kids are sick and all this stuff. And so I really tout it as a real way forward for women. But there's also this thing that when you are an entrepreneur, it's so unsafe. At its worst, every single day you have to create for yourself everything that you do. You create all the money for yourself, you create the environment for yourself, the mindset, whatever. Like I never have to think about discipline. It's not having been an entrepreneur kind of most of my adult life, well over 20 years, discipline and productivity are not words I even think about. They're just ingrained into who I am. And, you know, but I think because as women, we are so used to not feeling safe. We're so used to having to fight 50 times harder. We're so used to having to fight to be seen and heard. We're so used to carving out our little place of the world. That's ours, damn it. We're just made for entrepreneurship. Everything that I think about a strong woman is literally my version of a definition of entrepreneurship. I'm actually doing a show later today, and I'm only talking about why entrepreneurship is a benefit to women, because that's what I think it is.
Yeah.
We set up businesses differently to men. You know, which is something I talk about all the time. We set up businesses differently. People are like, oh, you shouldn't talk about the differences. Yes, you should. We are needs-based providers of businesses, not opportunity. We build legacy businesses, not turnover businesses, you know? We built businesses where the return, you give $1 to a woman, she'll give you back 87 cents in return. She may not do it in 3 years, but she will give you that. And you give $1 to a man, he'll give you 36 cents in return. So everything builds us. So I wish you, after all that little rant, I will always rant about entrepreneurship. I think you'll be wildly successful. And it may not be the last iteration of what you create because you're always having to pivot. But I think that it stands you in good stead. And I think you'd be an amazingly successful entrepreneur.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, thank you very much for coming on and talking to us, because it is definitely the first time I've had a boxer on the show.
Beautiful. I like to first.
But every athlete I've ever talked to that's went into entrepreneurship was very, very good at it. I will say that, because they've already built all that stuff that they needed before they came in. So those traits didn't have to be developed,
Yeah.
The wonderful Lesley Sackey. How do people find you, Lesley?
We're actually currently running a campaign called Drop Your Baggage. It's anonymous storytelling campaign. Women, if you've ever had that 1 or 5 relationships that just didn't feel good and you just want to get it off your chest, you scan a code, you share your story, and you can answer a few questions and continue the journey with Pillow, or you can leave it there. But the idea is that you just have a safe digital space to offload. It's not connected to your email. There's no connection to who or, where you are. And it's just a powerful way of just having somewhere to speak without hearing anything back. So you can find us at getpillow.ai. You can find me personally on Instagram, Lesley Boxer Sackey. And you can find us at Fight Forward, FIGHTFWD on Instagram. And of course, LinkedIn is my friend.
Of course. Lovely. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
My name is Geeta Sidhu-Robb. This was Activate Yourself. And thank you guys for listening to us again today. And we will be with you again soon.
Thank you so much for joining us. Our goal was to give you pause, make you think about your life, and inspire you to say, wow, what if I tried to do that? If they can do it, so can I. Did it work? Let us know by finding us on social media at Geeta Sidhu-Robb or at Nosh Detox. We upload new shows every 2 weeks here, and if you start to miss us, check us out on YouTube.